Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the head of state presided over the seventh meeting of the Council of Ministers. For the international scene, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expected in Moscow. Welcome to our newsroom. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, took place this Tuesday, April 26, 2022, the seventh session of the Council of Ministers. Presidency of the Republic, the first issue draft decree on the renewal of the member of the Board of Directors of the National Agency for Persons with Disability. The draft decree concerned the renewal of the member of the Board of Directors of the National Agency for Persons with Disability in accordance with the provision of the Article 6 of Decree number 2018-293 PR. The mandate of the member of the Board of the Director is renewable every 3 years. Second issue, draft decree on the eligibility for public procurement. Public procurement is a fundamental pillar of the strategic governance and services delivery for public authorities. It represents an important part of public expenditure. Good management of public fund can and must contribute in an essential way to the reinforcement of the efficiency of the public sectors and to the establishment of citizens' confidence. This draft decree defines the category of ground for ineligibility for a public procurement procedure. This ground for ineligibility for a public procurement procedures make it possible to exclude economic operators who have committed criminal offenses who are not in compliance with their tax or social security obligation, who have committed breaches of the labor code, who have engaged in fraudulent practices that are contrary to ethics and to the proper functioning of and executions of public procurement. Under this draft decree, the ineligibility of to participate in the public procurement process as set for by the Dispute Settlement Committee applies to all public procurement, and the contracting authority to comply with the award rendered by this committee. This draft decree aims to strengthen transparency and increase the efficiency of public procurement. It also aims to promote better rationalizations in public spending. The issue 3, draft order appointing member of the Dispute Settlement Committee, law number 53E and 96L on the Public Procurement Code, has created a dispute settlement committee, a non-judicial body whose task is to receive claims relating to irregularity in the public procurement procedures noted by the interested parties. This body is composed of 6 personalities from different institute, magistrate, state inspector, and the dispute settlement committee is seized of dispute relating to the procurement procedure within the time limit provided for by the provisions of the law number 53E and 96L on the Public Procurement Code. The members of the Dispute Settlement Committee are appointed for a period of 2 years. The Ministry of Interior, the fourth issue, draft decree on the opening of the electoral rolls. The purpose of this draft decree is to authorize the opening of voters' registration through the national territory. Voters' registration will be open from April 28 to September 13, 2022. The said revisions will allow citizens who are not on the electoral list to register. This decision will make it possible to clean up the electoral file and to take into account changes in the electorate, in particular people who have changed their residence, people who have been struck off, and people who have died. The Ministry of Budget, the issue 5, draft orders allocating a parcel of land to the Kingdom. To the Ministry of Defense, The purpose of the draft orders is to allocate a parcel of land located in Duda for the benefit of the Minister of Defense with an area of 7 hectares. These parcels of land will be put at the disposal of the Republican Guard and will be destined for the construction of affordable housing for the families of our military. Communication. At the end of the session, the Secretary General of the government made a communication to the Council of Ministers on the assessment of the activities to the National Commission for Public Procurement during the year 2021. He recalled that in application of Article 2279 of the Public Procurement Code, an annual report of activities must be transmitted to the President of the Republic and submitted to the examinations of the Councils of Ministers. Thus, the statistics contained on the report indicate that 208 public contracts were awarded during the year 2021 by 2022 contracting administrations for a total amount of 23.7 billion Djibouti franc of the 208 contracts. 72 were for the supply of goods and 70 for intellectual services studies and 66 for works. And of the 2008 public contracts, 20 were awarded by direct agreement, 159 by open invitation to tender, and 29 by restricted invitations to tender. Tenders are therefore the general role for awarding contract. On the other hand, he also made an update on the ongoing reforms and stressed that after the evaluations by the MAPS methods, the National Commission for Public Procurement has established a roadmap for the implementation of recommendations on the legal and institutional framework of the CMP and the implementation of the dematerializations of the procurement system. The reform will be implemented stages and chronologically orders, namely the upgrading of the legislative framework of public procurement, the revisions of the institutional framework, and the revision of the procedures and operational tools, awareness and upgrading of actors. Finally, he indicated that the reforms also concern the strengthening of the CMMP, the reduction of the processing times for files, the establishment of a system of statistics for public procurement, and adequate funding of the CMMP. The Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of industry reported on his participation by video conference in the 12 ministerial roundtables meeting of the Horn of Africa initiatives, which took place in Washington on April 23, 2022, within the framework of the annual meeting of the World Bank and the International Organization for Migrations. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and WAF reported on his working visit to Jeddah on 20 April 2022. The Minister of Labor in charge of formalization and social protections reported on his participation in the third regional ministerial forums on migrations on the harmonization of labor migration policies in the East and Horn of Africa regions, which was held from March 28 to April 21, 2022 in Nairobi. The Minister of Youth and Culture reported on her participation via video conferences in the ministerial meeting of the Indian Ocean Youth and Sports Commission held on April 25, 2022. The 9th edition of the National Competition of Religious Songs was officially launched yesterday at the theater of Saline by the Ministry of Youth and Culture. This activity, which is part of the program planned in honor of the blessed month of Ramadan, will oppose 25 candidates group to interpret religious song. The event brought together on site several major figures representing the municipality of the capitals and the interior regions, a group of jury experts and officials of the cultures of the Ministry of Youth and Culture. A large audience composed of the young and old came to attend the show of song. The competitions took place in an unanimous gaiety where the competing groups compete in the tonality in musical resonance or with the drums. The participants expressed their enthusiasm, addressing their heartfelt thanks to the technical committee and to the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Mumin Asowe, who wanted to perpetuate these activities, which is in ninth edition prayers and fervent blessings were fulminated for peace and social cohesion in the Republic of Djibouti. The mayor of the city of Djibouti began yesterday the installations of its member of the executive offices. The mayor of the city to install first Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Ige, the second deputy, and Ms. Taysir Fahmi, secretary of the Council of Djibouti, and at the headquarters of the Central Registries of the Directorate General of the Population and Family, which took place the handover of services between the outgoing first deputy and the new deputy mayors, Ms. Fatuma Mohamed Kamil, the installations of its new members of the executive. The mayor of Djibouti, the executives of the councils took place under the leadership of the mayor of Djibouti, Saeed Daoud Mohammed. It is in this sense that a high-level IGAD regional workshop on harmonizing and improving the productions of use of migration data in the IGAD regions was held this morning for the second day at the Campus Key Palace Hotel. This workshop focused on the presentations and discussions of priority indicators aligned with the IGAD regional migration policy framework and the regional strategy for statistical development. The ceremony was attended by representatives of international organizations, representatives of partners institutions, and representatives of IGAD member countries.
Today, which is being convened by IGAD Secretariat in conjunction with other partners like ILO, GIZ, Statistics Sweden and Africa Union, is majorly to look into the improvement of migration statistics within the region. This technical working group on migration statistics looks at the issues of the harmonization of definition concepts and methodologies, improved migration statistics production, also looking at the availability of migration statistics for evidence-based decision-making, and lastly, to strengthen the coordination amongst the different stakeholders at the national level and also at the regional level who are involved in the production and utilization of migration statistics.
In the framework of the price control operation through the national territory, to enforce the prices set up by the Ministry of Commerce Trade this Tuesday, April 26, 2022. The inspection took place in the commune of Bulaus, Place Rambo, and Market of Riyadh. The controller says the traders of the place to remind them the obligations of deliveries of invoice for any commercial transactions, any professional who has sold and resold product, goods, of offered services, or offered services without issuing an invoice is liable to fines. Since the beginning of the blessed month of Ramadan, the entire national police forces is mobilized to ensure the safety and well-being of our population in front of the all mosque of the capital and their parking lots. The elements of the road policies are deployed every evening in order to allow the Djiboutian faithful to pray in peace in front of each major hotel and places of affluence. Police officers are deployed every night, every evening. Since the beginning of the month of Ramadan, roadblocks on the main traffic route and reinforced controls have also been set up everywhere in the main traffic arteries placed under the command of the General Directors of the National Police. These important security devices will be deployed until the end of the holidays in the capitals and its outskirts. This security device is indeed intended to ensure the safety of people and property, but also to allow the Djiboutian population to spend their holidays in complete serenity. Under the aegis of the State Secretary of Sports, the Djiboutian Petanque Federation organizes its Ramadan tournament as every year. A Djiboutian tradition is this tournament brought together the best teams of the three towns of the capitals, in this case, the team of Rastika, Bulaous, and the large town of Balbala, a total of 20 teams who from different neighborhoods of Djibouti city participate in this tournament of the month of Ramadan. The final will take place on Monday, 25 of April in front of the headquarters of the RPP of Sheikh Moussa. The programs will be with the marches for third places between the team of neighborhood 6 and the neighborhood 7 at 9 p.m. in evening, and the grand finals will be played between the teams of Sheikh Moussa and the team of Humbli will begin as soon as the end of the first match acted by the judge of the tournament. The Regional Council of Tajorra has closed the competitions of recitations of Holy Quran in the locality of Balho under the prefecture of Torra. The closing of this event presented the sub-prefect of Torra, Abdallah Muhammad Kamil. Abdallah Kamil elected officials Ali Dini and Ibrahim Idris of the participation of the elders and ulema of Balho, who have honored for their presence this beautiful initiative. There certainly it is undeniable that an operationality of the road Tajora Balho have undoubtedly contribute to the expansions of these borders, timeless to those not cease to shine these last times by the organizations of various socio-cultural event of mark. In the day of April 25, the Djiboutian Coast Guard has implemented a large-scale operations of raids and sweeps in the mangrove located along the corridors of the road Venice behind the Bawadi Mall. The main objectives of this operation was to get rid of individuals who have taken up residence in these mangroves and who constitute a risk to the security and tranquility of the public space. Thus, it is a total of 41 individuals who were arrested within the framework of these operations of raid and sweeps, as well as 5 big bags of narcotics, a significant numbers of weapon cutters, machete, and 18,900 in cash. This operation is part of the wider framework of measures taken by the Djiboutian Coast Guard to ensure the security and safety of port facilities and their nearby corridors. For the international scene, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres visited Moscow on Tuesday. For the first time since the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, he met the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov with the objectives, among others, of obtaining a ceasefire in Mariupol to allow the evacuations of civilians. The United Nations stands ready to fully mobilize its human and logistical resources to help save lives in Mariupol, said Guterres. For his part, Sergei Lavrov said he favors of a settlement of Ukraine's crisis through negotiations. Also, he believed that these are unlikely to succeed. Kyiv remains on its position and continues to be supplied with weapons. The objectives are first and foremost to protect civilians, and here we are interested in operating with the UN as with the International Committee of the Red Cross in terms of further efforts to alleviate the suffering and the plight of civilians. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.